Okay, I've gone ahead and rolled out a little example of clay. I've taken my rib and I've smoothed over the top, flipped it over and smoothed the surface out again. You just want to make sure that you're doing that to make sure the clay is getting compressed. Now over here, I've put a few layers of glaze. Because we are going to take one of the pre-made decals. I've cut out a little section, and we are going to transfer that onto the clay with glaze underneath it. Now the other one where you're making your own transfer, you're going to get some, this is newsprint, very flexible. And then you're going to take some glaze and you're going to create a design. Now my design is not very detailed whatsoever, it's just lines. You can actually see where it may be still a little wet in a few areas. And I did this a few hours ago, and you want your glaze on your newsprint to be dry before you even get started. I use the Stroke and Coats. You can use any of the glazes over there. Probably the crystal glazes, the color burst won't work as good as what we're doing here. You'll need a little bit of clean water, and then you also need a clean sponge. So what you're gonna do is, if you do words or anything on here, numbers, you need to make sure that you reverse it, because when we transfer this, we're gonna flip it over. And then all we're gonna do is get some clean water, and you're going to soak the paper, not drench it, but just kind of wet it just a little bit. And all we're doing is rehydrating the glazes from underneath so that they will come off, and you can kind of bring back the image. See how it's starting to come off? But all it's doing is rehydrating, and you want to be careful with it because this paper is very, very fragile. And just kind of slowly just start taking it up. Now, if you don't get enough layers of underglaze, it won't come off, okay? And maybe you are wanting that kind of wispy, that's fine. See how that one's a little wispy, and that's actually how it looked. So what I mean by wispy is that it's fading off. Oh, look at there. It's working. Now, you want to be careful when you're doing this. If you get too much water on your clay, you're going to mess it up. It'll start to blur and blend outward, and that's not something you want. But you can start to see how that's coming off. Okay. And then if you don't like it, you're like, oh, that's not how I wanted. Get your sponge wet and wipe it away, and then start over. Okay, so that's the way that is. With this one, that's still not dry yet, but we are going to go ahead and try it. So I'm going to take my little punk rocker skulls. I'm going to lay it down, and I am going to very slowly, because this is pre-made, meaning I purchased it. And we don't want to waste it. Okay. Now I would get like a needle tool or something to kind of lift up. Okay, and you can see that it's starting to, ooh, yeah, baby. Okay, so this one is the one that was pre-made. Okay, you can see where some of the glaze didn't come off because it's black, meaning I did not add water to that. So we're just going to experiment with pre-made and then one that you're going to make yourself. Now, depending on how detailed you want this to be, we could do a picture. That's not a problem. I have on my phone this app called See Value, I think it is, and where it breaks down pictures into black and white. So you could do something like that. You know, I'm wanting you to get lots of different experiences with this. Even the pre-mades come with different colors. And you can actually feel the underglaze laying on top of the paper. But this is the beginning of your transfer, seeing what you could do. And like I said, with this, you can do a lot more detailing. It's almost like a mono print. Mono meaning one, and then you're doing a print, so it's only good for one session. So if you decide, like I said, if you don't want this, you wipe it off and we do another.